Welcome to City on the Hill Kids Church Online.
I'm Lola.
And I'm Jimmy.
Today we're going to be talking about personal prayer.
But that will be after a time of worship.
We are continuing our talk about prayer using the acronym P.R.A.Y. Today we will be looking at the letter A, which stands for ask. When we ask for something, we are asking for something to be done. That is, we are requesting for something to be done. Sometimes we could be requesting to know something, to have some information. Both of these are done in prayer. Remember when we talked about P for pause? We had said that sometimes when we pause, God speaks to us or shows us things. At that time, we may have asked for some information, and it's maybe at that time that he gives us that information. But today, as we said, we are talking about ask. We can request for something to be done or given to us personally, or we can be asking for someone else. Now, when we're asking for someone else, that is called, I'm going to use a big word right now. It is called intercession. Can you say that? Intercession. That's right. That's when you pray for others. Today we're going to talk about praying for ourselves. That is personal prayer. God says that we should cast all our cares upon him. Actually, there's a song about that. It goes, cast your burdens unto Jesus, for he cares for you. Cast your burdens unto Jesus, for he cares for you. Higher, 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 higher. Lift Jesus higher, higher. And the song goes on. When he says that, cast your burdens upon him, it means that Whatever it is, big things, little things, difficult things, easy things, all your worries, just cast them on him, because he cares for you and he'll sort it out. It's just like if you are going to go into a new class or you go to a new school and you're worried about making friends. It's a good time for one to ask Jesus, to pray to God, asking that he gives you a friend or you become a friend of someone else. One thing we should know is that when we ask, our prayers may be answered right there and then, immediately, or sometimes it may take a while. But we need to believe, have faith that God will answer our prayers. I'm going to give you a story in the Bible about someone who asked. Now, Jesus and his disciples were leaving Jericho, and there was a big crowd of people, loads and loads of people. And of course, you know, where you've got loads of people, there'll be lots of noise going on. But in this crowd, sitting by the road, was a man by the name of blind Bartemaeus. And he heard all the commotion that was going on. And he started to shout, to cry, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy upon me." Can you imagine that? "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." He must have shouted on the top of his lungs to be heard over the noise of the crowd. And then there were some people in the crowd warning him to be quiet, that he shouldn't worry the master. But that made him shout all the more, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." So Jesus stood still and asked for blind Bartemaeus to be brought to him. The crowd soon changed their tune and said, "Be of good cheer. Hurry up, the master's calling you." At that, Bartimaeus threw his coat aside, jumped up and went to Jesus. And Jesus asked him, "What do you want me to do?" And he said, "I want to see." To that, Jesus said, "Go, your faith has healed you." And instantly, immediately, Bartimaeus got his sight and he followed Jesus down the road. Now, this is someone who had asked for something and he got the answer immediately. There is another story in the Bible where you've got some blind people who didn't get their sight back immediately, but they did eventually get their sight. So, next time we are going to be talking about praying for other people. What did we call that? We called it what? Interceding, intercession. That is not praying for yourself, praying for others. But for today, that's the end of the story.
Hello everybody. Wow, thanks Ivy for telling us that story of blind Bartimaeus and how he came and he asked Jesus and he received his sight. How amazing. And Ivy also sang us that song, didn't she? Cast your burdens onto Jesus. He cares for you. Cast your burdens onto Jesus. He cares for you. And here you can see we have a little man with a huge rucksack full of all these burdens. Maybe there's anxiety in there and stress and worry, maybe some health problems, all these things that are weighing down our poor man and making life difficult for him. And then look, here we are, his big hand of Jesus is coming down, and the little man, he has asked Jesus, and Jesus has taken his burdens, and now he is free and happy and holding on to God's hands. He has cast his burdens because he asked God. And God was a good father, and he came and he's caring for the little man. So we're just going to do a drawing today. We're going to do this drawing to help us to remember that we can ask God, that we can ask him, and there's many things we can ask him, but one thing we can ask is that he would take our burdens, and he does. So we're going to start by drawing our little chap, and we'll start with his legs. Okay, so sometimes I think it's easier to start with something at the top of the bottom of the page to make sure it fits on. So we're starting with his legs down at the bottom, rather than starting in the middle, and then the back leg is bending round like that. Okay, and then the foot would come down like that. Okay, to show that he's walking along. And then we're going to have the body, and it's right leaning forward at an angle because he's really bent over. And then what we're going to do is his arm is up, holding on to the strap of his huge rucksack. So there you can see the arm coming up the front, and then the strap would come over his shoulder like that. Then we'll put in his head, and I decided to make him wearing a flat cap. I'm not sure why, it just seemed like fun. And then we draw in this massive, I mean, you can make it as big as you want, this massive rucksack, which represents all the things that are making life hard for this little man. Maybe he's having problems with his friends, maybe he's worried about his job, maybe he's got a big test coming up at school or a dancing exam. Maybe he's worried about somebody in his family who's not well. All kinds of things. There we are. So there's our poor little man. And now we're going to draw our happy little man who has cast his burdens onto Jesus. So this time, rather than being weighed down, he's standing up nice and straight. Oops, sometimes my upside down drawing goes a little bit wonky. But we'll draw in his head and his hat and big smiley mouth this time. His hands lifted up in the air in a sense of freedom and praise and thanksgiving to God because he's asked and God has taken his burdens. There we go. Oops, that foot came out a bit big. So here we are, and now what we're going to do is we're going to draw around our hand to draw in the hand of Jesus coming down. And we're not just going to have it straight like that because the hand needs to be holding the burden. If you imagine, here I've got my computer mouse. So what I'm doing is I'm holding it with the finger and thumb, and then the other fingers are coming down, and one of them is going to be touching the little man's hand. So if you have your hand in kind of this position, okay, and then you draw around it like that, that's going to help you get it looking right. So we'll draw between the fingers, one finger reaching down so the little man can hold on. There we go. So you come out with a shape a bit like this. But then what we need to do is think, well, where would the burden come, okay? So you can maybe see it better on here. What we're doing is we're drawing it in behind the fingers. We can see it there. And then it would come round and it would actually come in front of the thumb. So that finger actually comes down like that. And that comes in front of the thumb. So we're going to rub out that bit there because the thumb's gone in behind to help hold it. Okay. And then on this side, again, it would come round kind of like this. And that finger has gone in behind. Okay, so I'll just go over it in pen so you can definitely see. So what you need to do is draw it in pencil first, and then once you've got it all drawn correctly, then you can go over it in pen. So there we are. Now, this is the back of the hand that we're seeing. So that means we need to draw in fingernails and also these little kind of lines that you get on the back of your hand at your knuckle. There we are. Maybe because you're quite young, you might have very smooth knuckles. But I thank God, oh, Jesus' hand of a carpenter, he's probably got a few lines there, and also you can put in a few just around. There we are, the thumb and the finger. So here we are, here is our burden. Let's put the straps on it. Transferred into the hand of God. And it's just small for him. It's easy for him to hold that. Right. So once you've got it all drawn out, then of course you want to colour it in. And finally, you want to write on your message. And this is actually some verses that comes from the book of 1 Peter chapter 5. But we can just write it like it says in the song. Cast your burdens. Where do we put them? On our head? On our back? No. We give them to Jesus. Jesus, please, will you take my worries? Thank you, Lord. Cast your burdens onto Jesus. And why can we do that? Because he cares for you. So, if you know someone who's a bit worried, who's maybe got difficult things happening for them in life at the moment, why don't you draw them a picture to remind them that they can cast their burdens onto Jesus? So, I hope you enjoyed praying this week. I hope you enjoy asking God for things. And I hope that you see him answer and you're encouraged. And we'll be back next week as we look at intercession. Okay, bye.
We're on A.
A for ask.
This week we looked at personal prayer. Praying for yourself.
You can pray to get something or for information.
Could you give me an example on what you could pray for?
Peace, protection, guidance, healing.
Healing. Like blind Bartemaeus in the story. He wasn't going to let that opportunity of Jesus passing by without getting healed.
Even when the crowd were telling him to be quiet, he kept shouting out to Jesus just to be heard.
The crowd quickly changed their tune when Jesus called out for him. Anyway, he got his healing.
We need to be persistent in personal prayer. Well, in any prayer. God always answers. That's it for this week.
Till next time, bye!